Hey guys, welcome back. Alrighty, so I've been calling out this whole Max behavior a lot because we already know where Carmen stands on the show. Even though I think she's probably one of the greatest characters on the show, Carmen for sure needs a lot of work and a lot of self esteem issues for sure. But I have touched up a little bit on Max and specifically on how I feel they let him get away with a lot of stuff. I feel like Carmen is clearly the one that gets punished more, and Max is the one that is always talked to with more sense, more leeway, more patience. Now, it could literally be just because he's younger than Carmen. It could be just because, he struggles a lot more. He has dyslexia. But this episode specifically shows just how they go on about things. The episode in question is Why You Crying? And you're about to see exactly what I mean.
So that stuff gets rid of headaches? Yep. Let's see if it works. No, the pain's still there.
We also get a little insight into how Benny possibly raised George. You see, there's a lot of episodes where we can assume Benny probably gave George a good old whooping, but this episode kind of shows you that she more than likely did. Before we get into it though, thank you all so much for the support. Seriously, like videos are popping off, the channel's popping off. Thank you so much for tuning in. I uploaded a 40-minute video, so make sure you guys play that in the back. Just leave it. Just leave it. You don't need to do anything. Comment down below on this one. Let me know how you're doing. Tell me there's an episode specifically you want me to cover. Enough yap. Let's get on with it.
George, come here. We just got an email from Max's school.
Okay, I'm ready.
So the episode kicks off with George and Angie receiving a note from Max's teacher, basically because they want to get together with them and talk about Max's behavior at school.
She wants to come to the house to discuss Max's behavior. What do you think he did?
Now, Max immediately has an excuse as to what happened at school, and he explains to George and Angie that she just overreacted.
Guys, maybe you should wait outside for a minute. We need to talk to Max.
If it's what happened at school, they already know.
George, obviously super dismissive, thinks it's genius what Max is doing.
Max, ketchup.
Oh yeah.
Sweet.
But Angie, as per usual, is the one that is a lot more on top of it.
You did that in class? We do not high-five bad behavior.
Now, the moment that stands out in this episode is super early in the episode, and it's literally when Angie asks Max to just wait outside because she has to talk to George.
Come on, Angie. He's just being a boy. When I was his age, I pulled all kinds of stupid pranks.
In this scene, we get to see Max and his friends playing outside in the backyard with a football, where Benny is also hanging out in.
Hey, why don't you three go play in the front?
So this right here, it could just be like a sign of respect, like, hey, I'm trying to relax here and you're throwing stuff over me, like, you almost hit me. It could have just been a quick conversation, hey, Max, go play somewhere else, or hey, look, you know what, I'm just gonna walk inside the house so that you guys can play. But the way Max comes across is extremely disrespectful.
It's my yard. I can play here if I want.
Granted, it's his house, right? But I mean, look at the way he's talking to Benny, and it's Benny. Like, absolutely nobody ever talks to Benny that way. So it's kind of refreshing, but it does kind of show you just how much they have let Max go.
Why don't we play a new game? Get the ball from the neighbor's Rottweiler.
So after Benny basically shows Max what are the consequences of acting out, Max ends up mouthing off to Benny.
No, I got a better idea. Why don't you take your tired ass home?
And the scene that honestly shocks everyone is this one because you don't really get to see a lot of this on TV shows. Now, see, Benny's super old school parenting on this way. She believes that kids should not be mouthing off, but also Benny didn't really smack Max for no reason. Now, look, I'm a firm believer that there is no reason you should be hitting your kids. If you can't get them to understand with words, then you're doing something wrong. But this is early 2000s, man. Parenting was way different then. And so once Max gets hit, George and Angie immediately rush to his aid.
Max, are you all right?
Benny!
Angie, I got it.
And this is the part that kind of stands out to me because this scene is made Max to look as a victim, as, someone that just got hit for no reason. And it's interesting that they play it off this way. Obviously, you're not going to take Benny's side over Max. Benny already has history of being aggressive, violent, neglectful. But it's kind of interesting that they show Max in, he's just a little kid, he got hit. when literally you're seeing he is very troubled.
Come on, honey, let's go inside.
Hey, you don't hit Max.
George, you didn't hear what he said to me.
Now, to be fair for George and Angie, they have all right to be upset. I mean, Benny is the grandma. Benny is not the law. It's George and Angie. And for Benny to be putting hands on your kid, nobody's going to sit right with that.
Okay, but you don't hit my son ever. But now that I'm grown up, you need somebody else to smack around?
But this is the moment that hits George a little bit more harder because it reminds him of childhood.
Please, I never hit you.
You used to hit me all the time. At the clothes for less, you used to pull me in the dressing room and hit me so the cameras wouldn't see.
George basically calls Benny out because Benny used to hit him. But this is the part that gets a little messy because they clearly focus on Benny doing this, that they don't even realize Max was wrong. And of course, Angie is basically just gonna pretend like it's just Max acting out, but it's not even acting out. Max is literally not being himself.
Your mother's here. She better be coming to apologize to Max.
When I was 6, she'd be with the car in the driveway and never apologized.
So it's literally like Benny was the explosion, but I mean, the fire was already there. We get a little bit more deeper and we understand that Max is literally not doing any of the work at school.
It's not just a couple of bad grades. He's not even trying.
And it's not that he's struggling with dyslexia, as they point out. It's the fact that he's just kind of given up. He's acting out. He thinks everything's funny. He's being disrespectful. He's being a distraction.
Right now, Max is at the bottom of my class.
And now George and Angie start to put things together because this is not just happening at home, it's happening at school too. Now, everything to George and Angie seems like it's just normal and like they're gonna stay on top of it until, of course, they realize that he is literally going to put himself in a position where he's gonna fail.
Wait, you might flunk him?
Yeah, he might flunk.
And all of a sudden, everything's serious now. Like, you don't care that he's being disrespectful. You think, oh, I'm just gonna go talk to him. But the moment you find out that he's gonna repeat the grade, all of a sudden, all hell breaks loose.
I'll work with Max every night if that's what it takes.
That's right. No one in my family has ever failed the 5th grade.
Good job, George. Now, Angie asks Ms. Reynolds why she hasn't been following up with them if Max is falling so far behind.
I didn't. I sent him a note. He brought it back signed. It's Mrs. Lopez's signature.
What you did.
And Ms. Reynolds hits Angie with possibly the biggest thing up until then.
I don't believe this. He forged it.
So then we find out that Max forged Angie's signature. This next scene is honestly straight up results of what you're creating by negligence, by letting stuff slide. You see, when Max gets confronted by Angie and George about the note, Max plays dumb. Max acts like this is the first time he has seen the note.
Oh no! Why didn't you show me this note?
And it's really interesting how he keeps a poker face. It's like he's getting better at lying. And this is one thing that I've been pointing out for a very long time now since I've been making videos. George lets Max get away with a lot of stuff.
Cut the crap.
And so it's only bound to happen that Max is going to start lying. If you don't believe me, I mean, you don't have to think too far. Carmen lies to George about literally everything, but Carmen is way more secretive, and it's mainly because of how George explodes. Max is barely at that first stage where Max is just lying.
You'll lose all your friends. They'll all move on.
I won't lose my friend. They think I'm funny.
Of course, they tell Max that he has to sign a contract where he is going to devote himself to class or basically face the consequences of failing.
This is a contract from your teacher. We want you to sign it.
But I don't care about school. I shouldn't even have to go.
This is where Max explodes and tells them that he doesn't care about school. All he cares about are his friends and how funny they think they are. Of course, as per usual, Max has a lot more room.
It's too hard.
What's the point?
Let me handle this.
Because this is a Max episode, he gets treated like he is a trouble kid. Unlike Carmen, she gets treated like she is the problem. Now, on the next scene, we get to see George going to classic dad mode,
I know school's hard, but you still have to go. Everybody does.
where he's a lot more gentle than he is with Carmen.
Because what kind of job are you gonna get if you don't go to school?
I can be a pro skateboarder.
Of course, George starts to explain to Max that without school, his options are going to be limited. And it's interesting that they did this here when they also do it in the second to last episode.
Because no one in our family had ever graduated from high school, and I wanted to be the first one, and I was.
You see, they've already had this conversation, but basically, George tells Max that you have to go to school, you have to get an education so that you can get a nice job, get a nice house. Of course, they're gonna have a back and forth where Max tells him that, hey, look, maybe I'll just be a skateboarder.
I don't see a lot of pro skaters coming into the house saying, "Mommy, my elbow, kiss it."
George shuts that down. Max tells him maybe I can work in a skate shop.
So you make a couple $100 a month.
That's awesome. You get a cool car, a big house.
But this is the thing, George is a lot more understanding. He's not trying to crush Max's dreams. We get to understand this later on when Carmen tells George that she wants to be a poet. George crushes it down and tells her, you're not gonna make money off of that. But with Max, he's literally just telling her like, well, you could, but you can't treat school like it's a joke. You know, you have to take it serious. And that's still a lot more than he's ever done with Carmen.
Dad, I know what you're doing, but you're not gonna trick me. I'm just stupid.
Look, you are not stupid.
You see, literally with Carmen, he has told her that she has never shown potential. And I understand where he's coming from, you know, with Carmen running away. But as far as we're concerned, Carmen has always been good at school. And the problem here is that George is actually right, but Max is too defensive. He is perhaps maybe too embarrassed. And so instead of listening, Max hits George exactly where it hurts.
Gee, so if I work hard, I can get some loser job at a factory like you?
I don't care. I do whatever you want.
Max literally looks at George straight in the eyes and tells the man that literally pays for the house, pays for the food, pays for everything, the bills, and tells them that he has a loser job. Max literally treats George's profession as some pathetic thing. Max is super nasty with this line, and it's literally just proof that George survived. It's proof that George survived. Benny, Manny, his rough upbringing, his battle with dyslexia coming up, the fact that he didn't go to college, you know, those long hours at the factory, through all of that, he got a house, he got a family, he became a provider. So when Max acts like George did all of that and he's still a loser, George basically snaps and tells Max, you know what, whatever, you're on your own, I give up on you. And I gotta tell you, that was a very satisfying line to see, because unlike Carmen, George will continue to snap at her and continue to fight with her. With Max, it's like he gave up. The reason I feel like he went on about it differently is because he actually cares about Max in a warmer way. He came at him out of hurt, not out of you hurt me, so I'm gonna hurt you. George basically just dropped everything and left Max.
Hey, Max. Got a minute?
People know I'm out here.
Benny comes over to the house where Max is sitting in the backyard, and they have a conversation.
Listen, if you hadn't mouthed off, I wouldn't have hit you.
This is one of the rare moments where we get to see Benny as an actual parent.
That's the way I was raised. Things were different then.
Benny talks to Max and apologizes for everything that happened in her own way.
Here's a 20. Are we cool?
Yeah, we're cool. I'm sorry for what I said.
Nah, forget it.
Max tells Benny if her dad had ever given up on her.
Did your dad ever say he gave up on you?
And now this line is the one that really bugs me, because Max acts like the only reason George told him, hey, I'm giving up on you, is because Max is doing bad in school.
I'm messing up in school, and Dad said he's giving up on me.
And this is what I mean. Max continues to lie, continues to embrace that energy of deception. He is ignoring the fact that he hurt George's feelings.
You know, my dad might have beat me like an old blanket, but he never gave up on me. You know, you might want to get your crap together.
But he understands that George giving up on him is huge, because up until that point, he has been daddy's little boy. And of course, hearing your own father say, I give up on you, is something that even he doesn't want.
Gotta see this.
Pink, orange, and red. It's the most beautiful sunset ever. I love you too. I'm watching a hockey fight.
We get to see Max do a full 180 and start working hard on school.
What are you doing?
My homework. I'm not gonna be held back. Don't give up on me.
And of course, everything's different with Max. As I always point out, George apologizes to Max.
Look, Max, I'm sorry I said that. Cat was angry. I'd never give up on you, son. I believe in you.
At the end of the day, it's about how Max acting out, Max being disrespectful, Benny putting hands on him, which is obviously not the right thing to do. But all of this is a culmination of how much they let Max get away with. George struggled with dyslexia. You know, and there are so many people that struggle with learning disabilities, and yet they don't become disrespectful like this. It's literally just your environment. It's how you go on about life. Of course, George saying, I give up on you, is literally telling Max, you are not worth the effort. Once he realizes how much effect words have, George basically tells him, hey, I'm not giving up on you. I'm going to make sure that you do not throw yourself away.
I have faith in you. Now sign this legally binding contract.
And honestly, for Max, that is exactly what he needed. Alrighty, guys, that is it for me today. If you guys enjoyed this video, drop a like on it. If you guys are new, remember to subscribe. If you're coming back, thank you so much for coming back. As always, thank you for the support. That is it for me today. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.
Family's only as smart as its dumbest child, so let's make that Carmen again. Hey! Quiet, I'm teaching here.